皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So today, I guess I like to react to one of I believe it was a comment or a DM that I received about a previous podcast where I talked about why I hardly speak in Japanese. If you haven't listened to the podcast yet, I hope you can check it out first. But basically what I talked about in that podcast was that a lot of people tell me that Shogo, you're always so happy, aren't you ever sad or depressed and stuff like that? And I answered that, well, when I'm speaking in English, I'm a lot more, should I say, happier person. But when I'm actually speaking in Japanese, though, I'm much quieter. For example, I'm much just in the corner of the room kind of person. Yeah. And the reason why is because through my experience of working and training, for example, like in tea ceremony and such too, I have been taught that I should just say yes, sir, and nothing else, or just reply yes, and basically just don't say any complaints or no excuses, just get the things done, kind of way, for work or for training. I was just taught this way. So, in a Japanese saying, we say that all of the misfortunes or troubles or bad things basically come out from your mouth, which means words, right? Yeah. So in a lot of cases, our culture, the Japanese culture, just teaches you to stay quiet, and you can probably understand that, right, from all the problems that have happened in education and how Japanese people just obey others, without thinking about why. Yeah, this kind of idea. So yeah, I just basically talked about that. And a lot of the comments and DMs told me, my friends told me that, well, Shogo, you always say that you want to make change in Japan, right? Like, why don't you start making change? I mean, if you really want to make change, you need to be the first person doing it. Yeah, so if you want to talk, you should talk in Japanese, when you're talking in Japanese too. If you want to talk more, you should, and not always obey, the people that says these things to you, Otherwise, you won't be able to make change. Yeah. So basically, this podcast today is going to be a response on podcasts to these opinions. Yeah. So to make a long story short, I have two things I want to say. Number one is that I completely agree with the opinions of saying that if you want to make change, you need to be able to change yourself. Now, I believe this comes from the words of Gandhi, and he explained that exactly the same. Become the change you want to see in this world. And I really, really agree with this. So this is number one. Well, basically, that's the end of number one. I was going to explain number one and number two first and then start talking about number one. That's the end, basically. So I completely agree with that. And I have been doing that, And if I really wanted to spread Japanese culture to the world, for example, or protect it or preserve it or stuff like that, I needed to move and actually take actions. And that's the reason why I was working in tourism industry. And from there, my dream changed and not spreading culture, but more preserving and evolving it for future generations. And that's the reason why I started YouTube and actually got 1 million subscribers. I am taking actions and movements as much as possible as far as I can do, with this one body. Yeah. So I completely think that it's important, of course. And that's exactly the reason why I'm doing this, right? So that is one thing I really wanted to make clear, is that this is my life motto too. But number two is really important. This is the main part of today's podcast. Is that I believe it's really similar for all of the other things too. Like if you are a team member of a sports team, if you're a member of an orchestra or anything, it's not always just about logic, right? Human relationships, or just a company, or just even a small group, not everything can move logically, right? Humans are emotional creatures, we say. In Japanese, we say emotional creatures. I don't know if the direct translation is okay in English, but we can't always be completely logical, right? And even if we try to be as rational as possible, talking to someone in your group who you actually like or who you don't like, you tend to act differently. It's impossible to try to act the same, right? And especially in the world of traditional culture, if you can't get along with your sensei, your instructor, your training just simply ends there. and your sensei will not be teaching you anymore from there. Unfortunately, it's very sad, but in Japan, the senpai kohai, the superior, the junior idea is just so strong that if you can't maintain a good relationship, basically you're out of the box kind of thing, You're just kicked out of the group, basically. Even if you are supposed to be belonging to the group, you aren't. And this is, again, very strong, especially in the traditional world, where it reflects a lot of the, the older traditions and such. And I know they're in the newer, what should I say, the more younger companies, the newer generations, they have changed a lot, and it's not that strict. It's more about if you can actually get the job done with better results. These things are more important, like in the younger generations and the companies and such. If the company is run by a younger person, yeah. But in the traditional world, of course, there are hardly like people in their 20s or 30s, running a dojo or stuff like that. It's more of the older people, right? Like 50s and 70s. And of course, that's important. We want to learn from those kind of people. So I'm very honored to be a student under my senseis, all of the things that I train in and such. But again, if I really want to make change in the future, so if I really want to try to preserve and evolve traditional culture in the future, I need to learn everything I can from all of my instructors, right? But if my relationship with my senseis, with my instructors, are not so good, in between my journey of trying to obtain the skills in the first place, I will not be able to do these things in the future. So I will be probably talking about a different idea in another podcast probably, which I really think is important when you train in traditional culture. But right now, for me, is really the timing for me to just be as humble as possible and basically learn the mindsets and experience the kohai side, the junior side, basically. And once I actually bear that and I live through that, one day I'll become the senpai side, I'll become the instructor sensei side, right? This is when I'll finally be able to make change. I'll be able to finally say to my own students that just don't mind about all the, all the whatever, what should I say, tiresome, the words you say or whatever. If you want to say an excuse, you can say it and let's have a conversation, I would love to say that in future, but now I need to play the role of a junior. And this is how the Japanese society, of course, not just Japanese society, of course, but at least in Japan for sure, this is how it works. This is how every generations have lived through. They experience being a kohai, and they experience all the tiresomeness and all the frustrations, and they become a senpai, a sensei or something. And some people want to make change, so there are change sometimes, but some people just want their juniors to suffer from the same thing that they suffered from, And basically, it's if you really want to learn something, especially as deeply as I want to in traditional culture, I really do need a good relationship with my senseis. And to do that, I cannot make change immediately. This is the timing for me to just bear and wait for the moment when I can actually make change. And right now is definitely not the moment. So then everyone, thank you very much for listening to the end. So the ultimate dream of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know that there's a lot of people who are willing to study Japanese and come to Japan to travel, work, and study, or even train in our traditional culture and such, as we've been talking about today. Yeah. But I am very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future because we're facing a lot of social problems. We are losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all the social issues being shoved against them. So I really want to dedicate my life to try to make Japan a better place. I want to try to solve the social problems. I want to help preserve and evolve traditional culture and also help out the younger generations so they can have a brighter future. And to do this, I always say first. The nearest goal I have right now is to achieve 2 million subscribers by January 2023 on my main channel. So your likes and comments will help to boost my videos, and new viewers who have never seen my channel before, so it'd be great if you could help me out. Yep. And The third and fourth step of that we're thinking of right now of starting the business of selling merchandise and also becoming a stage performing group. We are constantly working on this as well. The new logo, by the way, our new channel logo has been decided. I think I did say this in another podcast. I've been having a stock of podcasts recently. I don't know which one will be coming out first, but if you've been listening to the end for me, thank you very much. We actually did complete a logo. I think we'll be sharing it with the channel membership first, and then we'll be presenting it to everyone else as well, and probably in one of the posts on YouTube. I think, yeah, we'll have we were able to think of a very beautiful come on family family crest come on, which is our channel logo. There we go. Yeah, and Kazu has actually started Yai with us, and today I think he's going to be going to some experience lessons for music too. So finally, I think he'll be able to decide which instrument he's going to be playing too. So yeah, I hope we can look forward to that. Once that's decided, our team will be completely ready for the stage performances, because we'll know what each person will be doing. So yeah, anyways, I hope you can look forward to that too. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to the end. Bye bye.